Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jensen with CCJ 4934, Contemporary Issues in Criminal Justice, Terrorism. This class is also cross-listed with European Studies 4930, and we will be studying both international and domestic terrorism. This is the only class at the University of Florida that you can take which exclusively dedicates all 16 weeks to the studies of terrorism, and you will find a few others here and there that maybe have a module or a unit about it, but not an entire class. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a really fascinating and interesting area to study. As you may also imagine, it can also be very overwhelming and traumatic because of the way it impacts all our lives. It's violence, it's messy, and this is actually a view outside of 9/11 or Ground Zero. And so to me, it's really important to study terrorism because it's kind of part of our modern day life, and it's changed all of our lives in so many different ways. So I hope you enjoy studying this with me, and we'll take you into the class. So I'll tell you a little bit about me and about our textbook, and talk about class goals, expectations of you, what you should expect from me, and then others that will be involved in the class, and how to be successful. And I know as an online student, for some of you, or taking other online courses, you may have a lot of these kinds of videos to watch, so I will try to be really quick about it. Okay, so this is me. It's a much fluffier picture of me. I did my PhD at University of Oklahoma. I've done 2 master's degrees, one at Louisville and Southern Methodist University. The first one was a social work degree, and the second one was a liberal arts degree. I did my bachelor's degree at Southern Methodist University, and that's in Dallas, Texas. I previously taught at Brigham Young, or BYU, for over 7 years. I was an associate professor there, and I eventually migrated here to Florida. And my highest rated course was Social Statistics and Research Methods. So some of you may have had me for that class, CCJ 3701. And that's kind of my love. I love teaching that class. I also use a lot of data and research and statistics in my teaching because I think it helps inform what we're talking about. So you may see some of that here as well. I recently completed a 100% online master's degree. This was after my PhD because I'm a nerd and I go to school forever. So no, I was really interested in social work at the time, and I wanted to jump into that program. And so I did all of that master's degrees, aside from my clinical and my field work, which I was supervised out in the field, online. And I know what it's like to be on the other side of the keyboard, to sit and watch videos and have to type up answers and work on the go while you travel, while you may have work or family or other things tugging at you. So I understand those demands, and I bring that perspective to the class. I've worked, practiced, and partnered in a lot of different places, probation offices, drug court, health and welfare, juvenile justice, shelters, prisons and jails, sheriff's offices, metropolitan law enforcement, and police academies. So I've kind of been all over the gamut in criminal justice, and all of these different places have really informed my perspective on the different classes that I teach. My expectations of you are that you do need to use the textbook in this class. I went ahead and grabbed the textbook from my shelf. So it's called Inside Terrorism by Bruce Hoffman. I don't care where you buy it, or if you get an ebook or a hard copy, however you want to get it. It's very affordable. It shouldn't be very much money. You can get it from Amazon or any bookseller, the bookstore, but make sure you have it because I do build my quizzes and exams from the text, and you will use this textbook as a source for many of your papers and writing assignments. So make sure you do grab this textbook. It's one of the leading textbooks in terrorism. Bruce Hoffman is at Georgetown University, and you'll actually get to see him in action in a few videos and lectures that we have in the course. You do need to use the textbook, watch all the films and all the lectures to complete your essays and assignments. I don't put videos and material on my course for fun. I will label that as recommended or supplemental material if you really get into an area or you want to go further. But other than that, everything is required. So make sure you go through that material because I will be looking for it in your assignments and submissions. And it's a great way to build and flesh out those assignments. It'll give you a lot to work with. Be patient, pardon our dust. I always tinker with my classes, and they're never completely done because I'm always updating and changing things and editing things. So occasionally you may see me changing some material, or swapping something out for something more current, or something that I think would be better. So I try to make sure I announce that well in advance, and I never ever want it to penalize you. So if I do make changes, I'll usually provide extensions so that you have plenty and adequate time to be able to incorporate the new material. Be very hands-on and active, and communicate often and early for any help. I actually have a Google Voice number which forwards directly to my cell. Yes, you can call me. I'm an online professor that you can actually call. I called my online professors at University of Louisville, and I loved having access to them and getting to talk with them on the phone, ask questions, get ideas, even do things like advising and career help. It was really nice to be able to talk to a human being rather than just kind of work through a computer like this. So don't be shy. Yes, I am inviting you to call me when you need to. And I do have in-person and virtual office hours that I set aside each day that I am available to you. Or if you need to talk in the evening or on the weekends, just let me know and we can arrange a time together where I can be available. So this is a 3-credit class, and you will need to be prepared with your readings, your films, and the skills we're trying to build on critical thinking. So I tell people you'll probably spend around 10 to 12 hours a week on average for a class like this. Some weeks might be a little bit lighter, but most of that 10 to 12 hours is going to be spent on class material, lectures, and reading. You have maybe a weekly quiz or an assignment, and I try not to do more than 1 or 2 things a week, but just kind of keep your eyes out for the deadlines in the class schedule. So what you should expect from me, I try to give you an email response back, or if you Canvas message me, you can do that too, within 24 to 48 hours. Occasionally, if I'm ill or traveling at a conference, I might be a little bit delayed just due to those kinds of things, and I try to let people know, or at least respond when I can, saying, hey, I got your message, and I'll get to you as quickly as I can. But I'm pretty good about trying to reach back to you within that time period. Occasionally I mess up, or I lose track of a message. Please be patient with me. I'm not trying to ignore you or forget about you, so you might need to reach out a few more times. I do have graduate teaching assistants. We're still in the process of making those assignments, so I can't announce them to you at this time, but in the future we probably will. Again, I'm available for phone calls. We can do a Skype session or a FaceTime chat. I actually experimented last semester with students being able to text me, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm open to that. If you want to text, we can do that. I do have virtual office hours daily from 9 to noon, pretty much Monday through Friday. I'm available to you. Virtual meaning we can reach each other through computers, devices, and phone. I am on campus once a week on Mondays, pretty much all day long. So if you need signatures or you'd prefer to meet face-to-face in Gainesville, we can do that as well. I should provide you some reassurance when you make mistakes. I try to provide comments and grading rubrics so you can look through anything that was scored and see where deductions occurred and things like that. Never ever take a grade personally. It's not that way, but I admit that grading feels very personal to a lot of people. But realize it's how we learn, and I'm required to assess you. So you can always improve. I usually provide extra credit at the end of the semester too. I do have requirements that need to be met before you submit that, but I try to give everyone a fighting chance if something's not going very well in this semester, that they have an opportunity to make improvement. We have quizzes. I believe we have about 8 or 9 short quizzes, and really there may be 5 questions on the material for the week. Multiple choice questions. Most people do relatively well on the quizzes. They are open book and they are timed. So you do have an opportunity to maybe reference or look up some answers from your materials, notes, or readings. But you do need to make sure you study and prepare before you take the quiz, because you probably won't have enough time to look up everything. And you want to be confident on the answers you choose and the time you spend on that quiz. If you need any accommodations from the DRC, then please send me those accommodations in writing, and I can provide things like extended time and so forth on quizzes in advance. So just let me know. We do have several short essays. We really don't write any major paper in this class, so you won't have a great big paper, but we do a really cool creative project at the end, at the very, very end, kind of right around finals week. It's a big PowerPoint on a terrorist group and how you would stop them. So that's probably as close as we get to a major paper, but everything else is really a short assignment. We do some assignments on hypothetical attacks. We do assignments that look at policing, that look at policy and law, all kinds of really creative assignments. We do have 3 exams during the semester. Exam 1 happens about 4 or 5 weeks in, and then exam 2 is right around midterm, and then exam 3 is basically your final. None of the exams are cumulative. They are only on the material that we cover at that point. We don't keep adding on and so forth. So it's just on what we cover at that point in time. So once you've completed exam 1, you can pretty much move on from that material because we're not going to touch it again. And again, we kind of talked about some of the assignments. So treat this kind of like a seminar course for your criminology career, or if you're studying, international studies or emergency management, it can be something like that. Make sure you dedicate time each week to the course and be really consistent. That's kind of my recommendation as to how to be successful in taking a class online, is to kind of have your afternoon or morning or evening that you always do that class. Maybe it's your Wednesday lunch break, or maybe it's Saturday mornings. When you start kind of looking for time during your week that you can work on your online classes, over the semester that time starts to change and things disappear instead of having a dedicated time. So it really helps people around you be able to kind of, make their plans for covering things while you're preoccupied with your studies. So that's my recommendation. I was an online student too, and Thursdays were always my class days. So that tended to work out pretty well. And I actually blocked out time on my calendar that I could not be scheduled for other things. But I get it. I was working full time during my online degree too. And so lunch breaks and evenings and Saturday mornings were very important. You can work ahead in this class. So if you want to go ahead to the next module, you absolutely can. It's kind of a self-paced course that way. All the material is available now. This works really well for students that travel or are anticipating being out, maybe from work, or you find out you have jury duty, or you have military leave, or some of these kinds of things, or maybe you have an upcoming surgery scheduled. Just communicate with me about those arrangements. But again, you can kind of self-help by working ahead and getting some things done in advance, so that way you don't get behind. Be really honest with me about what works and what doesn't. I take my student feedback very seriously, and I've gotten really great ideas from that feedback and been able to get rid of things that don't work well and make improvements. So let me know what works for you. But again, that's pretty much the class. And don't forget to get the textbook. Yeah, I would just really kind of enjoy this class like a seminar. I have some fantastic films in this class, some assignments that go right with those films that really let you kind of put some of these things into practice. And this is one of the favorites, I think, among my online students of classes that I teach, because we go into all kinds of fascinating things. Terrorism has so many angles. It brings in history, political science, law, psychology, biology, urban planning, sociology, culture, religion, so many things. And it's hard to do it all in one semester, but we try to be as comprehensive as we can. So good luck to you this semester, and I will see you in week 1. Bye-bye.